Oh my god, it's been so long. It's been so freaking long. What stream? What live music am I gonna put on? 24-hour lo-fi, medieval lo-fi. That's what we put on. Boom. It's that time again when Lucas is streaming in the tavern with nobody around but his windows. Oh my god, it's been so... That's why it's been so long. It's been so long because I've been dying. Oh my god. One of these days... Oh, wow, that's so fucking loud. One of these days, I am going to... I'm gonna do my podcast. I fill those chairs. That'll be the day. Oh. Made some Legos the other day. It's a little space guy. He's got like battery packs on his back. Got like a little grabber. A puncher thing. This was $1. This was $1 at my store because it was on clearance. Sick. I made a little custom flashlight. Oh, but that's not why we're here. It's not at all why we're here. Oh. We're here because it's D&D&Chill time. And I haven't done one of these in a while. And I don't know what this one's gonna be. Isn't that crazy? Like, I kind of stopped doing these streams because for a while, the whole idea of D&D&Chill was like, I had stuff to do. Like, I had D&D things to do, and I just kind of wanted to hang out and do stuff. And then calendars, the Dungeon 23 thing came along, and it was like, oh, well, this can be like a weekly thing. And then that died. And we kind of did like, D&D and chills and, weekly chats and stuff. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to do this whole homebrew thing. And I'm going to do it every Monday. And then we went strong for a couple months. And then I got super burnt out with it. That was... I have so many notes. I'd wanted to pre-plan stuff, but it didn't feel right. But it's it's one of those things where you dive in with 2 feet, and sometimes you get to the bottom. The ocean is bottomless, but sometimes you're in a pool of creativity. Sometimes you're in the shallow end and you just don't realize it. Sometimes there is a bottom. And when you reach it, you can either, you know, try and swim to the deeper end, or you can surface. You can come up, you can breathe. Take some time and think. Yeah, what do you want to do? But you know, it's just one of those things. Creativity doesn't have to be on a schedule. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, but that was kind of the idea. It's kind of the idea. It's like the whole idea of Calendar's collection was that it was. That's fine, though. It is what it is. There's new stuff to talk about, though. There's all kinds of things postulating in my mind. I got all kinds of books recently. I've been in talks with some people. Nothing crazy, mind you. You know, don't think anything, you know, insane's gonna be happening. But yeah, I don't know. Did I get an email back? My cash back bonus was automatically okay, whatever. Don't know what that is. Talks with some people. Now, yeah, yeah, some talks with some folks. There's so many windows open. Yeah, so I don't know how this is gonna pop up. Yes, it's not gonna pop up right. Boom. So I know you guys will probably remember a while back. I guess this is where I kind of start tonight. It's weird. This is like kind of where I'm jumping into things. So we've talked about the D&D Adventure Club before. And you know, we talked about it in comparison to things like Hero Kids. We kind of did like a tangential comparison to something like One Shot Wonders. Even though this isn't like One Shot Wonders, but I think we kind of had a bit of, you know, that. But I still am doing this. I am still subscribed. I have every month received the books. Let me see. Is it here? Wait, which one is this? Yeah. Yep, every month. My chat window is a little odd. What does that mean? Oh. Oh, I know why. I do know why. I think that's because of whenever I was doing my Lego streams. Damn it, stop. I have like books now falling on my page. There we go. That'll fix itself. One of my other pages will probably be... Okay, all my windows just went black. Yep. You know, everything just shuddered, and it still is. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually one of the big reasons why I don't stream as much anymore. My computer's been acting up recently. I think I honestly need to get a new GPU. It's been really obnoxious. So really think I think I really need a new GPU or something. But yeah. You know, it is what it is for right now. But no, like I said, I know it's been a while since I talked about it. Since I mentioned the D&D Adventure Club. And like I said, I am still subscribed to it, for what it's worth. You know, got the quick start guide here, and I have, the Skeleton Curse trilogy. I have the Unexpected Treasure trilogy, where, you know, this one the players go to Crag Manor, find out, you know, about the Skeleton Curse. This one the players go the players go into the Murk. I used to have a button set up specifically for this, and my whole stream deck fucked up. Let me do something real fast. Main camera. Filter. Can I do that? Yeah. Main camera, this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. If I need to do that, I can do that. That's what I thought. I used to have my stream deck set up, and that was like another thing that really made me lose interest in wanting to stream. Is like I lost the whole setup on it. But yeah, so there we go. If I'm over here, I'm over there. But yeah, you know, the Unexpected Treasure trilogy, where the players go into the Murk, which is basically just the Underdark in this setting. The Giant Problem trilogy, where a giant attacks Tumbledowns. We also get a... Oh, Jesus Christ. We also got a really great map of Tumbledowns in this one. But funny enough, this one actually has a great book in it. It's A Tale of Retail, and it is essentially different shops that are in Tumbledowns, like in the main town. And then an incident at the old mill. There is like a little story that goes along with this one that eventually culminates at the mill. And then we have Fort Stone Peak trilogy. There you go. We got Fort Stone Peak trilogy. There we are. Which takes the players up to Mount Minotaur. dealing with some minotaurs, some giants, some griffins, I believe. And then we got the Wandering Hut with dealing with Baba, Baba Yaga, maybe. And then we have Into the Clouds. And this one, it takes the players up to the Cloud City of Nimbus, where a bunch of giants are located, some gnomes, and some weird rat folk. And recently, the most recent trilogy that has been released through it is a dungeon. It's actually kind of just like a straightforward dungeon called the Pits of Peril. So it's like the Pits of Peril is the first adventure in a trilogy of good old-fashioned dungeon crawlers. The adventurers will enter the first level of the deep, multi-level mega dungeon filled with traps, treasures, and bizarre monsters. Good luck. The Saturday morning cinnamon buns at the Leaky Flagon are famous throughout the region, and all the townspeople at Tumbledown show up early to make sure they get sticky treats. Every player's talk and decide whether they know each other previously or just randomly in line next for the sticky buns. So yeah, players are heading in there and going through the Pits of Peril. And I mean, most of their maps are fairly the same. In fact, we can actually see their maps here on the website. Yeah, there it is. Pits of Peril. You get to play them in order or as they come out. Well, they are... wait, are you talking about all the books in general, or are you talking about specifically the Pits of Peril? If you're talking about specifically the Pits of Peril, yes, because it did release in order of the Pits of Peril, the Caverns of Chaos, and the Depths of Despair. So like this was the first one that came out. I honestly really like these isometric maps. I also like the fact that there's like nothing too crazy about them, and that you could also recreate these on like a 2D map if you wanted to put it in a VTT. Oh, sorry. So as they go along, are they a bit more challenging for different levels? Yes and no. So if we look at the first one that I have, which is the Skeleton Curse, in the very, like, this one, where is it? But this one had a thing in it. It was this one. Or maybe is it one of the more recent ones? Check that. Into the Clouds. Yes, okay, here it is. This is what I was looking for. I gotta see where this started, though. Okay, so that was a rocky start. What about here? Okay, it might have been a rocky start where they started doing this. You know what, funny enough, I think it's whenever it got put into Creative Commons, truth be told. I think that was the whole thing. Yeah, 19. Here it is, Taylor Retail. And incident at the mill. Okay, yeah. So, issue 22, a rocky start. Now, in all the previous ones, it was more or less taking into consideration that your players were going to be level like 1 or 2 or something like that. And it did give ideas in the quick start guide about how to level up your characters. Jesus Christ, I forgot how loud that is. What's up, Glenn? Thanks for scaring the shit out of me. Where was it? Door, blah, blah, victory. What's next? Scarred Thistle. Yeah, I swear to God, there was in one of these like a thing that talked about how you could level them up. But so here's the thing. In issue 22, a rocky start, at the start of this trilogy, in the back of the book, they actually now have, and it is subsequently in all books after that, because they're no longer using the very last page to put the OGL. They have like the last page now is just this little blurb, and then the Creative Commons license. But it now says on this last page how to level up this adventure. For third level characters, upgrade the final encounter by using the Monster Manual's official stats for the Manticore. We've nerfed the Manticore a little for the second level of this adventure. For fourth level characters, upgrade the Manticore to the official stats in the Monster Manual and replace the Rock Elemental with an Earth Elemental. Increase the difficulty number to 13 or higher to avoid being knocked off the cliff by the elemental slam attacks. For fifth level characters, upgrade the Manticore to the official, replace the Rock Elemental with Earth, increase that DC to 13. And if a player is knocked off the cliff by the slam attack, increase the drop to 60 feet for 66 damage and use standard climbing rolls for players scrambling to get back into combat. So they actually do this now in all subsequent books, where on the last page, it specifically gives you instructions on how to level this up for third, fourth, or fifth level characters. You know, in Into the Clouds, for example, for third level players, double the number of kobolds and use ogre stats for the brute. In fourth level, double the kobolds and use a hill giant stat for the brute. And for fifth levels, double the kobolds, give Crick 40 hit points and use a scroll of lightning bolt and hypnotic pattern and use the stone giant stat for the brute. So it is really nice to have those. You know, the reality is that, you know, these are definitely still designed to be short, quick, little adventures. So if you were planning on like running a campaign based on these, you are gonna have, you're gonna kind of get through you know, a handful of them before they're starting to level up to those points. You know, if it's, I don't know, I forget where I heard it recently, but somebody, I don't know where I heard this recently, Oh, you know what? No, I don't think it was that video. There was a video that was, I believe, put out. Maybe it was Matt Colville's video. Matt Colville recently put out a video that was like how long should a campaign be, and the idea with that is that, like, you know, they should be shorter, okay? But somebody recently I read where it was like, if you're starting players out at level 1, they should gain they should gain a level in their first session. By session 2 they should be level 2, and it was like by session, like each session they should gain a level. And if any, oh no, that's what it was. It was in the first session they should gain at least 1 level. And by the 4th session, the players should be level 3. And then from there, the players should level up. It was based on in-game days. So it was like every 3 adventuring days or something like that, like, because of the amount of encounters that you're supposed to put in front of players each adventuring day, it's like players should be leveling up every like 3 to 4 days in game. And maybe it was even like every 3 to 5. And the funny thing is that I kind of took that in mind, and I was like, okay, well, let's look at how my players in my campaigns have leveled up over time. You know, so, for example, this is the Phandalin 5. Now, I actually don't think I don't think I've updated this. Let me double check something here. Level 11. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because you guys are on session 88.1 and whatnot. And it's so technically speaking, like for my players, like this right here is session 88. And this is going to last. This is going to last for 30 days. Okay, so there we go. That's going to last for 30 days. Session 88 lasts for 30 days because this is the time skip we're doing. But if you look at this first level, they started out level 1. They were they gained a level in the first session. They then gained a level and were level 3 by session 4. They then gained another level after 3 sessions. And then they gained, you know, they went a few days in game, but technically it was only like a handful of you know, sessions where they eventually got to level 5. And then it was 3 days, 6 days, 5 days, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, and now they're at level 11 until the end of this. And again, this is a time skip, so it completely changes how experience, you know, and how leveling is managed with this. So it's kind of similar with Rime of the Frost Maiden. Now, Rime of the Frost Maiden we have put on indefinite hiatus for right now, so this is kind of where this is going to stage out. But like session 1, they got to level 2. By session 4, they were level 3. In 2 days, they gained a 4th level. They gained their next level. In 3 days, you know, 1, 2, 3, they were 4th level. In 2 days, they were 5th. 3 days, they gained another level. Then they gained another level within a day apart from one another. But that's because between these 2 days was 7 sessions. Okay? This was 7 sessions right here between these 2 days. And then this, between these 2 level ups, was 10 sessions. Now, we only played every other weekend. So that was at minimum 5 months worth of gameplay at level 7. And then they were level 8 up until just recently, you know, when we put the game on hiatus, which was, again, another like 11 sessions. But that was even longer because, you know, we missed a lot of days. And kind of in line with how my library group is going on, except for right now, because we unfortunately missed a handful of sessions here and there. But yeah, my players in that one, they were level 3 by the third in-game day. By the 5th day, they were level 4, you know, and then jumped today. And I felt like I was leveling them up in a way, I felt like I was leveling them up too fast. But if you can see, this first day was 4 sessions. Between levels 1 and 3, we played 9 sessions. And then we played 5 sessions where they were level 3. And then we played 8 sessions where they were level 4. We did 7 sessions where they were level 6. And we have, up until this point, played 14 sessions where they have been level 6. And it's going to be in this next session, once they beat the dungeon that they're in, that they will actually level up again. But again, I can't remember who it was, but like I said, somebody kind of pointed out where it was like you should be level 3 by the 4th in-game day. And then you should be gaining a level every 3 to 5 days in game based on the amount of experience you have to gain versus how many encounters you are going throughout any given adventuring day. And like I said, there's a part of me that believes it's Matt Colville. And you know
okay, what? So how long should an adventure be? Is there a right answer?
Yes.
Probably not. But is it a good question? I think it is. And if you don't want to wade through this entire video, because why would you? My point is only that this kind of adventure, a short one, is better for us than big hardcovers like this. There's a place for big epic adventures like this, but it should not be the default. And making it the default, I submit, is bad. It makes all of our lives harder. That's basically it. On with the show. Hey everybody, Matt Colville here. This might actually be a short video. We'll see. I wanted to talk about campaigns and campaign settings and this sort of missing piece from the game, the idea that you make or choose a world to play in. That used to be a big deal. Nowadays, not so much adventure. A short one is better for us than big hardcovers like this.
Here it is.
There's a place for big epic adventures like this, but it should not be the default. Level adventure, this is a 4th level adventure. So This one happens first. Okay, but says who? A lot of adventures get too hung up on what level it says it's for, is the point I'm making. We call this a campaign because of basically the Napoleonic Wars, which was sort of the most popular kind of war game for decades back in the early, and you got XP. Maybe you leveled up. That feels really good. As soon as you're done, you want to do it again. That other feeling, like you don't even know why you're doing this anymore, that is a bad feeling. People end up, so you just went with the coolest one and you made it work. Each adventure basically got its own marketing campaign. That's what the cover was for, and the blurb on the back. That was a very healthy product ecology. We don't have that anymore, and I can't bring it back. It is beyond my power. However, we use some variation of the deal.
I swear to God, it was one of his videos. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I forget, like I said, I forget exactly who it is. Where I saw it. But but yeah, so you know, I don't know where this was going. Oh, that's right. I do remember where this is going. But yeah, so being the fact that these books only go up to level 5, I honestly think that's perfectly fine. Like once you're starting to get past level 5 for these, because of how these come out and how these are designed for lower level play, I think it's one of those things where you're like, if you're playing it past level 5, you're probably going to be making up a lot of your own content at that point. That's kind of where, you know, where my mind goes with it. Now, I will say that when I mentioned before that I was actually in talks with some folks, I haven't heard back anything today about it. It was the D&D Adventure Club, because as I've mentioned a couple times, I am going to be setting up a new campaign that I'm going to be streaming here on the channel, that's going to take the Rime of the Frost Maiden slot. So I have some details on it. I have you know, some notes for it that are set aside. I've been getting everything together that I can. Why is OneNote acting so weird? But I've been trying to get as much together as I can. But the funny thing is that saved offline, sync now. Why is it not syncing? Okay, that's really weird. For some reason, OneNote isn't wanting to come up. It's acting odd. There it goes. But I have I've put together, you know, some different stuff for, you know, what that campaign is gonna be. You know, we have we got some really cool art for it. You know, Rise, Explore, Adventure, Protect, the New Age, the Adventurers Guild of Asteria. And as of tonight, I was super excited because actually just before Justin went live, he and I sat down and talked about his character. Because something that I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you guys what the steps were that all of our characters, or all these characters, went through to get their backstories fleshed out, to like generate cool, interesting, evocative backstories that I can then use and twist into the campaign with Phoenix. Yes. So the thing about the New Age, the Adventurers Guild of Asteria, is that it was not always the New Age. In order to have a New Age, you have to have an Old Age, or at least an age. So the thing is that, once a beacon of hope and a pillar of support, the Adventurers Guild of Asteria, the AGE, or the Age, fell into disgrace due to the corruption that seeped into its highest ranks. The guild leaders, once revered as heroes and paragons of virtue, grew greedy and corrupt. They exploited their power and influence, manipulating the desperate needs of the common folk. It's, as unfortunately sometimes happens. Excuse me. They exploited their power and influence, manipulating the desperate needs of the common folk. The corruption manifested in numerous egregious acts, such as rejecting missions from those who couldn't afford to pay exorbitant fees, and even orchestrating threats to coerce communities into seeking their aid. There was actually a situation in the Old Age, in the Old Guild, where the water supply to a town had started to dry up to a trickle, and it was causing sickness and crops to die off, or sickness to grow and crops to die off. Now, what was found out later on, that town put together a request for aid. It was eventually answered, but records found out later that one of the guild leaders actually worked with a band of orcs and goblins to dam the river providing that town, in exchange for looking the other way when they did roadside raids on a specific trade route. The reason for this is because that guild leaders was in competition with the main business that used that trade route, and that town actually supplied that other business with resources and materials. So when the guild leader answered the call and request of like, hey, not only did I get your water back, but now, I'm driving these orcs out of the region, and, we're doing all this great. You should work with me now. So there was a lot of corruption, and kind of like a mafia. Yeah, I mean, are they a mafia? Some of them started acting like it. Some of them started out. Now, keep in mind, there were still virtuous members of the guild. There were still, honorable, proud members of the guild that wanted nothing more than to see common folk being supported and aided, seeing adventurers rise to the level of hero, providing the world with good and seeing that good was being done. There were still those members, specifically one by the name of Thelonious Greymantle. He was one of these paragons, and unfortunately, the reputation of the guild was nearly annihilated. They faced all kinds of scrutiny. They basically were just destroyed from the inside out because of this. When these nefarious deeds were brought to light, the people's trust in the guild eroded. It was replaced by a pervasive sense of betrayal and anger. Stories of the guild's exploitation spread like wildfire, fueling widespread resentment and fear. Theo for short? No, it's Thelonious. It's Guildmaster Thelonious. He does have a nickname, which is Graybeard, but is not Theo. Theo is short for Theophilus, not Thelonious. But the distrust in the guild culminated in massive revolts, supported by various powerful factions, including local governments, merchant coalitions, and the disenfranchised adventurers. Together, they dismantled the guild, basically tearing down the entire institution and holding its leaders accountable. But in the ashes of the old, the new era is dawning with the establishment of the new age, a reformed Adventurers Guild of Asteria founded on principles of transparency, fairness, and ethical governance. The new guild is structured to prevent the resurgence of past corruptions, operating under a charter with stringent ethical guidelines and oversight mechanisms. Leadership of the guild was reorganized to ensure no single point of failure. A council representing a diverse array of interests now governs it. In addition to this, it's more bureaucracy within the guild. The council, the overall council includes merchants, commoners, local authorities, and adventurers, all committed to a fair and just operation. Reap. Yes, you go out and you reap the day. Is that intentional? It's very intentional. The other way that I originally had it was worse. I literally cannot say it on stream, but out of those 4 letters, I think you can realize what acronym I accidentally spelled. So it is very explicitly REAP. But within the new guild, kind of 4 ideologies have sprouted up over the past couple years that the guild has been establishing itself. You have the reformists, who are comprised of former members of the old guild who were either uninvolved or opposed to the corruption. They are committed to rebuilding the guild in full. They believe learning from past mistakes can create a guild that not only serves its members better, but also acts as a benevolent force in the wider world. They champion transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership, and they are actively involved in creating policies and practices that prevent corruption and the abuse of power. You have the ideology of the skeptics, which consists of individuals and factions that remain wary of the new guild, haunted by the memories of the past. They are wary of the guild's potential to reform and remain unconvinced that corruption can be fully eradicated. They prioritize oversight and scrutiny of all guild activities, advocating for checks and balances that keep the guild's leadership from becoming too powerful or too unaccountable. There's a lot of skeptics that work in the bureaucracy of the guild. Their vigilance makes them essential watchdogs, who challenge the guild to live up to these ideals. Unfortunately, though, you do have the opportunists who are nefarious, unscrupulous individuals that, seeing the new age coming, they see this as an opportunity. The restructuring of the guild, they see this as an opportunity to advance their own power and influence. And while they might not be opposed to the guild's ideals outright, because they do want the guild to perform and do well so that, so they can be involved with it, they are primarily motivated by self-interest and seek to benefit from the guild's resources and networks. So, there's really a fine line between doing good because you want to do good, you want to provide good to the world, and you know, also because it's a living, you know, being an adventurer makes a living. So yeah, it is going to earn you gold. It's going to earn you power. It's going to earn you reputation. The opportunities kind of take it to the next level where they will like specifically make deals where they can skirt some of the gain from the guild onto themselves. You know, they're skilled at navigating political landscapes, often acting as brokers and negotiators, leveraging situations to their advantage without drawing undue attention to their maneuvers. And finally, one of the other kind of ideal or faction that has risen up around the New Age, the Nihilists. These are outspoken individuals who believe that any structured guild is doomed to eventual corruption, and they are deeply skeptical of attempts to centralize power amongst adventurers. Like, think of libertarians, okay? They advocate for a decentralized network of freelancers who operate independently of any governing body, arguing that true freedom and integrity can only be maintained without bureaucracy and hierarchical oversight, that the system itself, if left to its own devices, would weed out those who, you know, seek to do it harm, so long as good is what wants to prevail. You know, they work to undermine the guild's central authority, and even though they will work with guild members, they promote a model of mutual aid and cooperation more amongst individual adventurers, if not trying to coerce guild members out of the guild to become freelancers. So the guild itself is growing. You know, the new adventuring guild of Asteria is growing, and that's what this campaign is going to be about. The main structure, or the main premise of this campaign that, you know, that's going to be coming up on the channel, is that all of the players are fledgling members of the New Age. So, you know, I keep mentioning it, you know, the Adventurers Guild of Asteria. Asteria is simply the world, it's the world that the campaign takes place in. Each one of the players has recently passed their class assignment. This is an in-game thing that I've sat on for a long time. It's CLASS, Combat Leanings and Specialized Skills. That is an assessment tool used by the guild to determine what your combat leanings and specialized skills are, and what category they fall under. If you are a follower of a particular faith, depending on how you operate on the battlefield, you might be classified as a paladin, as a cleric, as a druid, or as a warlock. If you're a mage who is garnering arcane energies, you might be categorized as a wizard or sorcerer or an artificer. You know, if you are a brawler out there on the battlefield focusing on melee combat, again, depending on your combat leanings and specialized skills, you would either fall under something like fighter, barbarian, or monk. And each one of these has a, you know, idealized form that has been established in the old guild that has carried over, because it's a way that the guild can classify its members to know where they might need some kind of specific, you know, member going to do a certain adventure. If you need brute strength going out into the battlefield, you kind of want to look more towards your fighters, your barbarians, your paladins. You may not necessarily, you know, want to recruit, you know, a monk or a rogue or a bard, but this is the way that they can do that. Asteria Oh, my eye. For what it's worth. Hysteria. Hysteria is the planet. It's like Toril. Yeah. Hysteria is the planet. It's like the everything. So they are now the thing is that Hysteria is much like a lot of the locations within the Unforgotten Realms. It is mostly unexplored. It is ancient. There has been bygone eras, creatures, places have gone unexplored for hundreds and thousands of years. These are places of mystery, and that is how the Forgotten Realms describes even I believe it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I believe that's how the Forgotten Realms is described. Misraid, yeah. What is up, my man? What is up, Ms. Roy and Big Bill the Bear? Hell yeah. Yeah. Here it is. So Hysteria, this world, here are the same core assumptions about Hysteria that you can also make about any world within the Forgotten Realms. The gods oversee the world. The gods are real. They embody a variety of beliefs. What are we looking at in this? So we're kind of talking a little bit about the new campaign I'm going to be running, the new age. It's going to be replacing my Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign every other Sunday. We still have a lot of time. I still got a lot of work to do on it. In fact, things just changed this week with some of the stuff that I'm doing, but I'm getting the seeds out there. We did not finish Rime. No, we are putting it on indefinite hiatus. I got burnt out by it, truth be told. I could not continue running that campaign. Just could not do it. I wanted to. I don't like, I mean, I am in a way finished with Rime. But maybe to a degree I'm not. Maybe one day I might go back to it. But for right now, yeah. For right now, I am done with it. We're moving on. We got some new characters. We got new plots. But yeah. So Hysteria follows these same core assumptions. Gods oversee the world. Much of the world is untamed. So, like it says, wild regions abound. City-states, confederacies, and kingdoms of various size dot the landscape. But beyond their borders, the wilds crowd in. The world is ancient. Empires rise and fall, leaving few places that have not been touched by imperial grandeur or decay. Conflict shapes the world's history, and the world is magical. So this is it. Within for Hysteria, these are the core assumptions that I am going with. Now, where I'm at now, like I was saying, the way that this campaign is going to be structured is that I've 6 players. It's the same folks that were playing in Rime. They've all made their characters, and they are all fledgling members of the new guild. They have just passed their class assessment. So they have, been assessed of their combat leanings and specialized skills and been assigned their class. And they have been granted active status within the guild. Their A lot of stuff you can do with the whole planet. So here's the thing. I don't want to even fucking think about the whole planet. I don't even want to think about like massive countries. I am focusing on a diverse but small region of the world where this campaign is going to take place. Okay. I like when you think about Phandalin 5 and I think about like my library game or Rime of the Frost Maiden, all of those places took place in what would be a dot. You know, Rime of the Frost Maiden took place in 10 towns. That's like a, you know, just practically, you know, a couple dots, you know, on the north of the map. And, you know, the Phandalin area is very small. So like, I don't even want to think about a whole planet. And funny enough, this is actually where I was kind of getting to, because I had come up with key locations that were going to be present in this campaign. I wanted to come up with locations. I wanted to come up with like where they were and come up with a cool map. So, you know, the way that this campaign, like I said, the way this campaign is going to be, the players in the guild in this particular group have been given an immediate assignment upon graduation where they are to head to a newly founded settlement or a burgeoning settlement and work alongside Guildmaster Thelonious in order to establish a new guild hall at that location to facilitate further exploration and provide a base of operations for guild members. Now, I came up with a bunch of names. I came up with a bunch of, you know, like threats for them, environmental hazards for the areas. I actually have such a hard time trying to bring it up on here, but maybe actually this, because this is technically a different program. Oh, well, look at that. I can actually do it. Okay. There, and we'll do that. I don't think anything is going to be bigger over to the side. Yeah. So we're gonna trim that down. Yeah, so this is a lot of what I already have set up. Okay. The campaign was going to be taking place in the settlement of Bramble's End. As you can see, I have this nice little map of kind of like what I wanted the feel for the town to be. As it says, it's a burgeoning settlement at the edge of civilization. Specifically, this campaign, Bramble's End is located in a region known as the Verdant Expanse. It's a region that it has multiple key locations. As you can see there on the left, we have Gloomfang Caverns. Oh, what the hell's going on? There we go. Yeah, we got Gloomfang Caverns, a network of dark winding tunnels and expansive caverns located northeast of Bramble's End. You know, who knows what lurks down in there, kind of underdark territory. We have the Ironheart Mountains. Go there, we'll just make that a little bigger for you guys. So we got the Ironheart Mountains. This is actually home to like the Dwarven Mines. There's also mountain giants there. I was also using the Verdant. So there's a lot of forest. Okay. The Whispering Woods is kind of the giant feature of this region. The Whispering Woods fill like most of this space. So in each one of these locations, I wanted to come up with like some kind of monsters that would be indicative to that region. So like cave trolls, shadow bats, rime worms, like ice breathing dragons, like little drakes and stuff. The whispering wood forest drakes, small little dragons that go from treetop to treetop. Within the Whispering Woods would be the Silverleaf Enclave, an elven settlement that's kind of secluded and nestled near the heart of the Whispering Woods. They would be, very much like overseeing its life and its vibrancy. We would also have the Green Hoof Plains. Obviously you can see I'm using AI art for a lot of these. This one is actually overseen by centaur tribes. I kind of wanted to, in the Dragonvice Spire P campaign, they have a centaur like tribe that's within the forest, and I never really got to explore a lot of that, and I kind of wanted to give that an opportunity. So there are like vacant regions within the Verdant Expanse that these plains are located, that centaurs kind of roam and have more control over. The Blight Root Depths, this was actually going to be a place that exists in the north end of in the north end of the Whispering Wood near the Ironheart Mountains, that within the campaign would slowly start to move out and creep and start to corrupt the landscape. And that was going to be like a kind of quest. That was going to be one of the quests that the players are possibly going to go on. Haven't fully decided on that, because one of the key things I want to do with this campaign is, of all the campaigns that I have ran, my very first Deltora quest one, my Greyhawk campaign, my Phandalin 5, Rime of the Frost Maiden, my Golden Showers campaign, my Rising of the Undying campaign, and not necessarily that. That's probably one of the only ones that wasn't. Kind of in a sense it was. All of the campaigns that I have run until this point have been the players need to stop a cult or a god. Technically, Rising of the Undying was that the players had to stop the aspect, or they had to stop Zugat Moy, which I'm off the top of my head can't remember if I know she is like a god, but I don't know if she's like, I know she's a demon. I don't know. Yeah, Demon Queen of Fungus. So not technically a god. Yeah, she is a demon. So like, that was like one of the only campaigns where the players weren't like actively going against a cult or a specific god, but they were going against a demon queen in a way. I don't want to do that again. I feel like all the campaigns I've ran has been me in a way telling my players, hey, here's the campaign, here's the story, fit your characters to go and do this thing. Like, make your characters do this thing. And along the way, I might introduce things that like their characters are interested in. But I want this campaign to be about my players. I want to create a story that ties my characters together. I do want there to be underlying stuff. Blightroot Depths was like that underlying thing. Like there's, when the players first arrive in Bramble's End, they're there to build a guild hall, but they don't actually have the resources needed to build the guild hall. So they need a place to stay for the time being. That place, Guildmaster Thelonious is gonna recommend to them to clear out Gloomfang Caverns, and they can use some of that space to like house, you know, their guild for the time being until they actually get a guild space properly established. Now, after that, they'd have to go up to the mines, you know, talk to the dwarves to get the resources. If they're going to need lumber, they got to go and talk to the elves, kind of a thing. You know, this is kind of where some of the campaign kind of plays in, but there's going to be a side reason why Thelonious wants Gloomfang Caverns cleared out. So one of them has 7 dads. No. One of them has 7 dads at one point. Justin and I have already kind of, we don't know the final resolution of that, but he had 7 dads. So there was a tragedy. But yeah, so continuing on, we had the Mistvale Swamp, fog-laden region, southwest of Bramble's End, you know, Will-O-Wisp, bog lurkers. Then we have the Mirror Water Lake, you know, a lake to the northeast, near Gloomfang Caverns. And then we got Frostspire Peaks, much like Icespire, you know, highest reaches of the Ironheart Mountains, and then the Seabright Coast down where there's a river that flows from there's a river that starts in Frostspire Peaks, as most rivers do start up in icy mountains, but the rivers that flow down through the region, they go through the Ironheart Mountains. As you can see, there's like rivers that go through Bramble's Ends. There's some that, you know, the water that trickles through the forest as well as through the plains. They come down obviously to the coast. You know, that's how water flows. So I came up with all these locations, some local threats. You know, I came up with some ideals and some personalities, even side quests for the main NPCs of the region. I could not get a good centaur picture, but I really liked this one. So he's like, this is the upper body, this is the lower body. You know, some really cool characters, some you know, cool side quests with them. Specifically, one that I really like is that this was a random name that came up, Thora Bearclaw. And I was like, oh, she's a werebear. Like, this is cool. And she's recently discovered ancient blueprints for Magical Forge that could control her transformations. So, like, some, like, sweet, you know, blueprints for something magical that can control it. Like, I want there to be minor things in the world that can, you know, that these NPCs can approach the players about, that they can say like, hey, you know, we, you know, like, hey, you're starting to do good in our town. Can you help me with this thing? And allowing them to really get to know the NPCs around, like Thelonious. He's a good guy. But yeah, I even had a lot of stuff written out, as you can see, even how I wanted it structured. So it's there. It's all in my notes. But as I was going through all of this, the problem was that I was getting hung up on making a map. That was actually one of my biggest hangups. Now, I had taken all the details that I had, and I actually... Nope, didn't mean to do that. Nope. What am I doing? Oh, here we go. That's what I was doing wrong. I actually made this layout of the locations based on the directions that I had. So, like, you know, Bramble's End, you know, kind of the enclave, like the forest surrounds, the forest permeates all of this, but like the enclave over here, this is where the blight is starting. Mirrorwater Lake up to the northeast, northeast, next to Gloomfang Caverns, Frostspire, Ironheart. This is the Wellway River. This is like the main river that travels through the region, you know, the different locations. And so I was wanting to come up with a cool map. I was exploring some options online. I actually was looking into some other folks' maps to maybe possibly get one commissioned. And that is when just the other day I got my most recent D&D Adventure Club book. And it hit me. They have a map. The Adventure Club has a really cool map. A really cool world map. And guess what it has? It has a small, centralized town. It has a forest. It has a seaside. It has a swamp, a jungle, a Fey realm, and a Shadow realm. It has a frost region. It has a mountain region. It has hills. It has a lake. It has a giant cliffside ravine, and it even has a massive volcanic forge. And it has a river that cuts through from the mountains down through. It even has where is it? Here it is. Even has a sick map of Tumbledowns, the main town. And this is who I got in contact with the other day. I reached out to the Adventure Club, and I said, hey, I have been using your map to run my niece and nephew's adventure. I have become very accustomed to this map. I've looked at this map a fair amount of times. And I was like, why don't I just use this? Why don't I just use Tumbledowns instead? Why don't I just use this region? So I asked them, I said, do you have any higher resolution maps? And I'm not saying that this isn't high resolution. That is actually really good resolution for what it is. Like some of these things on here are still like the older cartoony style stuff that they did, but like some of this is really high resolution. And in fact, they have a number of maps that are different spots in the region. Where's my folder? Here it is. So, for example, they have a fairy forest. So if I want to, if I want to introduce them to the Fey realm, I have that. If I want a slightly, more detailed map of Mount Minotaur, I have that. If I want the region between Tumbledowns and Mount Minotaur, where maybe there's some Ash Hills Shadow Delve, I have this. And in fact, the other one that I mentioned before, the Merc, this is a slightly lower res one. I believe they have a higher res one. Could be wrong. Nope.
Yes, here it is. So, like, okay, cool. Players want to go to the Underdark. Okay, what's down past Gloomfang Cavern? Once they clear out Gloomfang Caverns, what do they have access to? Oh, they have access to the Murk, where they can get to a dwarven mine. The Murk, you know, like, these different locations can exist within it. The Sunless Sea, the Runes of Eldor, the Shimmering Fell, like, these are all locations. Now, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately with like the heaviest heart, I don't have all of these books. Unfortunately, I'm missing the first 12 books, which has a lot of information on like the original like area around Tumble Downs. Like the Fey Realm is like 5 through 7. This is also like specifically Tumble Down stuff. And then it's like the region just outside of it. So I do want to get my hands on those in time, but I was really kind of like ingratiated with these, or not ingratiated, that's the wrong term, but like when I started thinking about needing a map, I was like, I can just use this map because it's kind of everything that I need. And all I have to do is change one name. And that's changing Bramble's End to Tumble Downs. And it's done. So my campaign will be taking place in this region. Now, when I reached out to them, I did specifically ask, does this world have a name? Does this region have a name? Obviously, there is stuff we have, this map has not even touched. There's things in here that they haven't even explored in the books yet. So, you know, there could be official content that comes out when I'm running my campaign where maybe I put stuff into this that is like impossible with how they run it, but it's obviously going to be two separate things. But I kind of laughed about it because they actually got back to me and they were like, yeah, let us know what maps you want. We might have some higher res ones. Yeah, and so, you know, like I said, I'm just curious to see what they say. I'm excited to see this. And like I was saying before, we have all the players now set up. So the party, I'll tell you what, this campaign's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be weird. You know, it's, you know, the Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign was a dwarf ranger who wanted to escape the horrors of his past because of mistakes he made. It was of a young human kid who was traveling there to appease his patron. It was a Goliath who wanted to bring back, who wanted to put an end to Arl's reign in order to allow for his tribes to continue on. A human who wanted to be a great swordsman and be, you know, a businessman, and another dwarf, a dwarf rogue who wanted to be a captain, and a gnome artificer who wanted to prove that he was a robust healer and that he could live up to his old guild's reputation. So we had like 2 dwarves, we had 2 humans, and we had a gnome and a Goliath. Like, those are all fairly common races, okay? I mean, arguably, Phandalin 5 is fairly diverse. You know, you got 2 elves, you got a Ganassi, which is kind of human-esque, a Warforge, that's definitely a slightly more obscure, and then you got a Goblin and a Changeling. Okay, nothing too crazy. And I mean, even my library campaign, you know, it's 2 half-elves, a Changeling, a human, a gnome, and a Dragonborn. But this group... The group of the New Age is so weird. It is as of tonight, a Dwarven Ranger, a Bugbear Cleric, a Shatterkai Elf Druid, a Tiefling Bard, a Fairy Barbarian, and a Grung Monk. Now, for reference, if you don't know one of those words that I mentioned in there, which is Shatterkai, you're not alone. Shatterkai are elves that are associated. They are elves from the Shadowfell that are bound and tied to the Raven Queen. So where most elves are, you know, descendants of the Feywild and the Sylvan, these are ones specifically associated with the Raven Queen. So that is actually Smith's character, and I don't know if I fully convinced him, but since he names all of his characters Smith, I wanted him to name his character Smith or Kai. But yeah, so like Dwarven Ranger, hey, we've had those. Okay, cool. Bugbear Cleric. Definitely have not had a Bugbear Cleric in a party for a while. Last time I had a Bugbear, they were a Paladin. Have never had a Shatterkai Elf. Tiefling Bard. Okay, that's slightly more common. Fairy Barbarian. That one caught me off guard. And for reference, that one is Young Terret. So kudos to him. And Grung Monk, that is Justin's character, because he is the one who was raised by 7 dads. And actually, funny enough, if you want to see a Grung Monk being played, Hannah is currently playing one in the P5 one-shots with her character that I made on this one of these streams, Raina Ribbit. I don't think you can be a Shatterkai and the other race. I don't know what you were talking about. Shatterkai is an elf. If you're saying it, are you saying it because I said Shatterkai elf? Because here's the thing, it's right here. Like, it's like saying that you're an Eladrin elf, or that you're, you know, a sea elf or a drow elf. Okay, it's Shatterkai is just the specific kind of elf that you are. So that's all it is. It's just it has its own thing. It's a specific lineage in Monsters of the Multiverse. It works the exact same way. You get Blessing of the Raven Queen, where you can teleport 30 feet. This is more or less the same thing as the Eladrin ability. So but one of the cool things that we did with all of these players is something that I'm actually going to do on stream here tonight. So what I'm referring to is every time that somebody was ready to get their character up and running, fuck that up. Anytime that somebody was ready to get their character up and running, we actually used the book that I talked about recently called A Life Well Lived. Ooh. Oh, wrong one. Bow. Nope, again, wrong one. Oh, I realize why that's coming up like that. Here we go. What is this thing doing? This, that. There we go. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yes. Okay. Because I didn't realize they're a variation of the elf. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the same as a it's like the same as a high elf or any of the elves. They're just a version of the elf. It's just they like drow. Like you can say drow and you're talking about a dark elf. Okay, you can say Eladrin and know that you're talking about like a seasonal elf. You can say Shatterkai and know that you're talking about a Shadowfell or a Shadow Elf in a way. Well, Mark of the Shadow is different, but anyway. So, what I wanted to talk about, what's up, Nerdy Sakura? It's good to see you. So what I wanted to talk about is when all of my players were sitting down with their character ideas in mind, or with no character idea in mind for some of them, we used this book. It is a book that I kickstarted. I was one of the kickstarters for it, by Crucible 7, called A Life Well Lived. I actually backed this around the same time that our pal to the channel, Ryan Doyle, was doing his for the Game Master's Guide of Explosive Creation. So I really liked the idea of this and what it could be. There's a lot in here that I'm not going to get a chance to go over today. But what I wanted to do is, much like I did with Ryan's book, I kind of want to show how you can use this book to make a really interesting character. Now, the way that both books work is you roll on a handful of tables and it develops, different things. Now, each one of them is a little different in how it works. One of the big differences is that in the compendium, you kind of have to already know what your character design or background is going to be. Okay. You have to walk into it knowing that you're going to make an artist or a bounty hunter or a criminal or a cultist. A Life Well Lived kind of replaces the steps of choosing your race or your lineage and choosing your background. Okay, this builds you a background, like a mechanical background with ability score increases and skill proficiencies, weapon and tool proficiencies, and even languages. So we are going to go through real quick and we're going to make a random character and we're going to see what they come out like on the other side. I've only ever done this once. I got a really weird gnome, but this is what we're going to do real quick. So I need to bring up one more window. Which window is that going to be? It's going to be the one. These, I need to close these. Where's the Adventure Club? Doesn't have one anymore. Cool. So we need to Pull this up. We're going to go to dddice.com. And bing bong. We'll put this down there for the time being. We don't need to see the physical dice. We just need to see what the numbers are. You know, it's really sad. I struggle to see the left side of OBS nowadays because the TV that I have above me that I normally keep OBS on, half of it is like dying. So I can't see can't see what I'm even doing on the left side of the screen. There we go. All right. Let me just roll a random die just to... Okay, cool. All right, we're good. All right, so our first step, we need to roll for our lineage. Because I do want to roll on the table here. So we are going to roll for the lineage. Now, I did, obviously, I did not want to be a stooge or not a stooge, a Scrooge or a miser about this with my players. I explained to each one of them if there was stuff on here that they got that they did not like. They did not have to choose it. They could pick their own thing. They could come up with their own thing. It is completely up to them. I wanted them to have fun making their characters. They were also not limited to this list here in the lineage. I definitely did not, want to hold them to that. These just so happen to be just the ones that come out of the player's handbook. Now, the reason for that is because they kind of take some of the things away that and adjust the things based on these alterations. For example, elf is not wood elf, high elf, this, that, the other elf. It is just elf. So your lineage is an elf. And like, the cantrip is something that the high elves get, but it's either wizard or druid, which kind of goes more like the wood elf way, but it's not, because that would be more the camouflage stuff. So these do have alterations, but we're going to see what we get. All right, we're going to roll a D100. So we got a 54. Ooh, my eyes are starting to go. There we go. Fuel up. All right, so 54, we are a half elf. So what does that mean? We are medium, we have dark vision, we have fey ancestry, and we get proficiency in a skill of our choice. That is good. So I'm going to say that we're going to save that for later. Okay? Because obviously we don't even know what class we're playing. We don't know anything about this character yet. So let's move on. All we know is that, one of our parents is an elf and one of them is a human. All right. What is our temperament? What sign were we born under? What is our zodiac? This is a D12. That is a 9. We are born under the sign of the Pegasus. All right. Also known as Sagittarius the Compass. And that means that we are adventurous and irresponsible. But it also means that we get a +1 to charisma. So there we go. So we're already starting to, we're adventurous and irresponsible. So we're already possibly starting to lean into maybe sorcerer, bard, possibly possibly maybe paladin. Your sign is of that of the Pegasus, whose wings carry it free of the bonds that bind so many other creatures. You're always on the lookout for new experiences, rarely looking back to what you've left behind. All right, so was I raised by now here's the thing. I am obviously, my lineage is a half elf. I am of elf and human ancestry. But who was I raised by? This is a very different question. So let's see. I was raised 78. I was raised by half elves. So more than likely, I was raised by my actual parents. Who were maybe either half elves or were human and elves. So we can probably pick that one. All right, D100. What kind of life did we live? 64. We were living with enough to be comfortable. So we had some money. It was enough to live comfortably. We weren't wanting more. We weren't super wealthy, but you know what? We had a little bit to throw around. Maybe that led to my character's irresponsibility. You know, he never really went wanting for most stuff, so he didn't really think much of it. All right, upbringing D4. 3. He was okay, so he was raised with love and care. He was raised in a loving and caring family of how many? Ooh, a small family. Funny enough, this is the very first time I ever rolled small family. 4. Okay, so there were 4 members of his family. I think in that mind, that means that he had his 2 parents and a sibling. Okay, so I'm gonna be back from my lurk. I'm glad to finish my family tree. Nice, that's awesome. I'm actually just about to figure out what my family bonds are for my character's family tree. There's 4 members of their family, so their 2 parents and a sibling. I just need to roll 3 d20. So we got a 5. We got a 5, a 12, and a 19. So that means that we have cursed, some dread magic, ill luck, or unnatural transformation has its grip on them. Perhaps they have found a way to manage their condition, or maybe it threatens to consume them and their loved ones. Terrifying. All right. 12, in poor health. As a result of a disease or injury, their condition has proved resistant to most treatment, but they have never lost hope. Holy shit. Okay, we're getting there. 19, wistful. They have never achieved their dreams, or they desire more than their lot in life. Though they still make hopeful preparations to achieve their goals, they hope you will accomplish it on their behalf. Holy shit. You know what? With this, there's 265 people on my tree. My character, Jesus Christ. I've calculated the ages, names, numbers. Jesus, oh my God. That's insane. I'm going to change one thing on here. Okay? I'm going to change one thing on here. We are going to be living from a comfortable life to poverty. And the reason is because I think that plays better into what their family is like. Because I believe that 12 and 19 is their parents. Okay? You know, their mother, maybe their father is the wistful one who never achieved his dreams. you know, he hopes that, that my character is going to be the one that goes out and does it. His mother is in poor health, something that's going on, and maybe this is brought on by this character's brother. Okay, maybe it's something that is they've had to care for this other brother or this other sibling for all these years, and you know, the father couldn't go out and live live that life. The mother has fallen ill. What about their what twin? Oh, you said twin a while back. An identical one, but with a disability, and that's why they no. Okay, so we're getting there. So we already have kind of like a really, being that we adjusted that prosperity to poverty, you know what, maybe you know what, maybe they had just enough to get by. Yeah, I think that's better. I think that's a little better. Just enough to get by. All right, well, where were they growing up? Okay. Got a D10. 6 in an isolated community. Interesting. Okay. So what is the event in that community? Though your community valued strength, adults were concerned. Damn it. Get off the screen. Although your community valued strength, adults were concerned over your aggressive bullying and regular fights with other children. We get a +1 to strength. Okay. +1 to strength. Interesting. Okay. So, aggressive bullying and regular fights. Now, the thing is, it doesn't say whether or not I was being bullied or if I was being the bully. And regular fights with other children, it was something that they were concerned about. I'm thinking this honestly could be a barbarian. Maybe their dad wanted to be a fighter, so he trained the kid, you know, he trained this kid to be a fighter. It's an option. All right, so right now we have 2 ability score increases. We have charisma +1 and strength +1. We have a little bit about their backstory and their family, but now we're going to get our first skill proficiency. This is an event that happened in our adolescence. It's a D100. 55. Someone close to me was extremely ill. Oh, we already know who that is. That's our mother. And you, okay, so I gain proficiency in medicine. Sweet. All right, so someone close to me was extremely ill, and I learned a lot about nursing as I took them under my care. Cool. So my character was there trying to help heal back his mom. That's totally awesome. Life lesson, D12. So the life lesson is basically this thing where it kind of shapes your worldview. When you roll, you actually have to pick what your option is. 3. Oh my God, funeral. Is this the death of his mother? Old age claimed the life of an old family friend, and family friend, and you were asked to travel to a nearby town with your family to lay them to rest. Did you agree to go, making new friends in the town, help clear away the deceased's many weighty possessions, or sneak away at the first opportunity to see more of the town? Well, so going, making new friends does give me a bump to charisma, which would, +2 to charisma is great, but helping clear away the deceased weighty possessions gives me strength. So a +2 to charisma, I'd be leaning towards warlock, sorcerer, bard, or paladin. +2 to strength, though, with a +1 to charisma, would be possibly like sword bard. Could also be a good paladin. +2 to strength would also be a great fighter. Could also be a good cleric if we get wisdom down the line. If we wanted to go that route. Could also be like a hexblade warlock. But that proficiency with medicine is staring me in the face. Oh, I have an idea. I have a cool idea that that is something I saw the other day that might lean me into this, depending on how this goes forward. We need to see what more this is. Right now, I'm actually going to go with the strength buff. We helped clear away the deceased's many weighty possessions. So this is going to give us a +1 to strength. All right, so a pivotal moment in our life. This is an inciting incident to define who we are for years to come. A D10, we have a 4, garrison duty. A usually distant skirmish encroached upon your settlement, drafting you into their battle despite your allegiances or involvement. As soldiers took shelter in your homes and buildings, you're expected to provide for them and assist where needed. Though the battle moved on, eventually you were left with a slew of applicable skills. One soldier confided in you about his fears, telling you about his children waiting for him back home. Concerned about his survival, he rigorously maintained his armor, explaining the importance of defense in a prolonged battle. You gained proficiency in either leatherworker's tools or smith's tools, and he gave you a sketch of his young children, asking you to find them one day and pass it on. Interesting. And my occupation from that could either be a cobbler, a sailmaker, or a tanner. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that one, but it's not bad. I just don't know how I feel about the occupation, but we'll see. We'll see as we go along. So for right now, we have garrison duty, and this is going. I'm going to say we're going to grab proficiency in smith's tools. And we also have a small photo of or small sketch of soldiers' kids. Okay. So occupation, cobbler, sailmaker, or tanner. So cobbler is a shoemaker. So we'd get cobbler's tools. You were the cobbler, a shaper of shoes and a buffer of boots. You were in charge of judging the comfort and utility of footwear, and were often a staple of settlements whose citizens would visit you frequently for repairs. All right, so that gives us insight. Tanner is leatherworker tools with animal handling, turning raw hides into leathers. And sailor, proficiency with water vehicles and survival. It was sailmaker, weaver's tools, and acrobatics. Interesting. So I'm actually going to choose one here. I'm actually going to deviate, and I'm going to choose a specific one for a specific reason, because I may have already figured out what class and subclass this character is. And we'll take a look at it in a second. We're going to go apothecary, and this is going to give us proficiency in alchemy supplies as well as proficiency in Arcana. All right, now what is our character's quirk? Let's roll a d20. 4. We are clumsy. Oh no. All right, perpetually klutzy, you have a tendency to stick your foot in trouble with alarming regularity. This could be as simple as a stumble drawing the eye of a passerby, or loudly smashing a vase in a noble's manner. Earning the ire of house guards, your clumsiness is endearing to some and distracting to others. All right. And what is our call to adventure? What is our main drive? Number 6, you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So what does that mean? Well, here's the thing. We are going barbarian. Okay. Now, granted, that's going to give us another +1 to strength. So that's +3 to strength. It's going to have to be mitigated somewhere. But as of right now, we got a +3 to strength, +1 to charisma. I think because of this, I'm going to swap this for con. Because I think barbarian should either get to choose between strength or con. As I believe most of these characters should be able to choose between their 2 highest. But you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So here's the thing. Just the other day, I found this one other time, and was happy to find it again. Nope, wrong one. So there's actually a really cool barbarian subclass called the Path of the Unstable Alchemy, where you are like always under the, you know, like you when you rage, you have so many elixirs that flow through your blood that, like, when you rage, they like come to the surface. So this is a character who spent a lot of time around alchemy because of wanting to heal their mom, you know, learning the proficiency with medicine, eventually becoming an apothecary to learn alchemy. They wanted to help people, okay? But they have this unbridled rage in them, this strength, this vitriol, that it's like they sometimes can't, they sometimes can't deal with it. So the thing is though, I don't necessarily know if I like you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, what I am leaning for is I want you seek answers to questions that can only be found on the road. Here's what it is, okay? This character, this half-elf, his brother was cursed at a young age. That curse, he was cursed in the womb. Okay, so this kid, our character, was going about living their life as they do. By the way, up here we are going to, because we had a bonus proficiency for a skill. I think we already have medicine and arcana, but I think I'm gonna go, actually we're gonna go athletics. But, actually no, We're gonna go with my original idea. We're gonna go nature. So this character had a very small family. 2 parents. His dad had these hopes and dreams of being an accomplished alchemist. Okay, wanted to be this potion maker, you know, and that was his dream. You know, he had his first son. Things were going good. When his wife got pregnant again, a curse was placed upon the unborn child, and that then led to his mother being very sick. And even once the child was born and the curse still lingered in his mother, keeping her very sick. So the father had to dedicate his entire life to basically keeping his wife alive and kind of resenting this child, but still wanting to love it. Now our character is trying to work with his dad to keep his family alive, keep his mother alive, keep his brother alive. But he kind of resents them a little, you know, like he's naturally irresponsible. He wants to go out and do things. He wants to go out and explore, but he can't. He's constantly reminded he has to stay there at home, helping his dad take care of his sick mother and his cursed brother. And he gets angry and he's violent and he lashes out at some of the other kids who are able to go out and do these things when he can't. When the time came, you know, he eventually learned medicine skills. You know, he was always extra strong. But eventually he took on some, you know, there was a war going on, something that, you know, eventually came to town. He, you know, met this soldier, was helping them with his apothecary skills, and helping those soldiers. But the thing is that it you know, his over the years, his mother has not gotten better. His brother's curse is not lifted. And the thing is that he believes that the only way to resolve this, the only way to alleviate this, is by putting an end to the curse on his brother. So he needs to seek answers that can only be found out on the road. He needs to go out and he needs to explore. He needs to find the answers about what to do about his brother. And that's where we're at. And the last thing we need to roll is the lie we tell ourselves. Love is weakness. Holy shit. That's it. Right there. He's telling himself, I need to leave. I need to, you know, like, I need to put it aside. You know, when you, his entire life has been devoting to other people that he loves, and while he loves them, it has kept him from growing and exploring. So he constantly is like trying to distance himself from some people and like not building strong bonds. He obviously knows that he needs to build bonds. He needs to have allies and aid, but he doesn't want to grow strong bonds because he feels like if they ever get sick, he's gonna have to abandon everything he's doing just to take care of them. But it is a lie because he knows that love is not a weakness. I would have lined with that, or I can save everyone. I feel like he would do that too. Let's take a look. Let's see what our character's goal might be. Barbarian goal number 5. I want to decorate myself with new markings or tattoos to display my triumphs upon my flesh or instill fear in those who look upon me. That's cool. I could see this being like a short-term goal. I mean, yeah, because these are short-term goals. I could see this being that the markings on him are like different alchemical things that he learns. You know, I could see that. What about long-term goals? I desire a partner in life that matches my physical prowess. No, that's clearly not. Looking for more than just wanton violence. I want to find a community where my rage protect. Yeah, that's it. So there we go. What's his character's name? Let's see. Let's do yeah, I don't mind this one. Aladon. So there we go. So just, you know, like I said, I wanted to put this into perspective. This is what each one of my players in my new upcoming campaign went through with me. We sat down together, rolled some dice, saw what the tables gave us, came up with a cool customized backstory that has details, that has, you know, events in it, that has things that tie us to the outside world, you know, things that can be played upon in the campaign. Yeah, I really like this book. I thought it was super interesting. So if you are into stuff like that, if you want to have, you know, what was your character's life before they became an adventurer, a Life Well Lived is a great resource. So I'm also, so I plan on using Ryan's compendium on my side of the thing to build out some stuff from this. So for example, Jared's character is an entertainer. Aaron's character is a blacksmith. Smith's character is a cartographer. Glenn's character is a guide. Tarot's character, actually don't know if he has a profession. And Justin's character, actually also don't I know they did have, oh, he was a vagabond, and he was, oh yeah, that's right. The Tarot's fairy was an apothecary. So I can take those and I can work that stuff in during the session 0. I also have to take time. I want to develop stuff out of these lists using Ryan's compendium, but the thing is I don't have all of his compendium. That's the thing. I have a lot of it, don't have it all. So, but in time that will be the case. That's why, you know, this campaign isn't starting for a while. So, but yeah, like I said, if you are interested, check this out. It's called A Life Well Lived. I highly recommend it. It's just a good book all around. It has a lot of stuff for even during the campaign. You know, oh, believe me, I know, I've been in talks with him, been chatting with him. Waiting to get those next updates. But yeah, so like campcraft downtime, that's gonna be another big thing that I want to incorporate. Life Will Live, this is in the D&D books, yeah. That folder, anything that I ever show on here is gonna be in there. But yeah, no, it's in there. Yeah, so I was gonna talk about other things tonight as well. I actually lined up a bunch of stuff, like stuff from Delve, which is the new it's the new Kickstarter by Bob Worldbuilder, the one and only Bob Worldbuilder. So it is about dungeons, monsters in said dungeons, magic items themed around dungeons, traps and hazards, and player options. It's a really cool design for dungeon stuff. So a lot of community members having their ties into it, or their hands into it, like Pointy Hats, Dungeon Dad, I think that was Jenny D, yeah. So, and they are getting there, but he actually has a little bit of a sample out right now. Stuff like the Oozing Kobold, the Skullmonger Ooze, which I fucking love the look of this thing. And then we got treasure like the Oozing Staff, the Skullmonger Bolo, and then we have the Stoneborn. Yeah, constructs. Petrified stone board. So yeah, we got that. I recently got the final version of another Kickstarter that I backed called the Catalog of Consumables. It's got all kinds of different potions in it. It's got poisons, apothecary supplies, monstrous meals, expanded consumables, different things with actual, like, you know, don't start slowly scrolling. I fucking hate when you do that. Yeah, so like booming, like a booming potion that requires a resonance crystal. Kind of gives a, you know, basic description of it, what it looks like. Oh, let's zoom in. Go. This potion enhances the voice of a consumer tenfold. Any whispers become shouts, but any shouts become an intense bellow and have the potential to rattle walls, deal damage, and can be heard up to 1,000 feet away. We've got stamina potion that makes the consumer immune to exhaustion effects and unable to gain any more levels of it. So after it wears off, they have every level exhaustion they started with plus 1 additional level. So this one is kind of like my my one Sprite cocaine. So yeah, I haven't fully looked through this one. There's a lot to it. I just haven't had a lot of time to devote to it. But yeah, got a really cool book, the Catalog of Consumables, which actually has a printer-friendly version and also one that's slightly easier to read. This one, while this hurts my eyes with like the white on black, the other one hurts my eyes more. We also got the Prayers Handbook, the Meta Domain Cleric. Imagine playing a cleric and you know that you are a player in a game. That's the thing. And that your DM, that you the player can metagame and it's part of your character. Yeah. This one is really funny. There's a lot of like outside of the world stuff, you know, metagaming things that you can learn, meta knowledge, epiphanies. You know, at level 1, you believe the world is just a game and that powerful unseen gods known as players are guiding your actions. Some people think you're crazy, but are your beliefs any stranger than others? Level 8, you believe you discovered your player's name, begun to get a sense of who they are. You can now, when the need is great, invoke their name to greatly empower your magic. Sometimes you think you even hear the voices of the players. Yeah, all kinds of fun, goofy stuff. Even we got some meta magic as well as some meta magic items. Yeah, just real goofy stuff. I love meta things. So this one was right up my alley. Giant polyhedral dragon. Oh yeah, Grognard. Yeah, there it is. The Hydrahedron. Yeah, and then this is another one I haven't really dug too much into. Campaign Builder, Cities and Towns. You can actually go buy this one now. This is from Kobold Press. This one is specifically more for building towns. I kind of wanted to do that around Bramble's End, but now that I'm switching over to Tumbledowns, I might not have to, but I kind of want to explore this and see different things. And again, lastly, and again, something I haven't dug too much into, something else that I helped kickstart, the Toolcraft book. Stuff about new kits, new proficiencies, different things that you can become proficient in, and various rules that surround them. So it's a lot. There's a lot out there. I wish I could talk more about it, but honestly, it's 1:30 in the morning. I know it's not too late, but I am getting kind of exhausted. But yeah. So it's been a while since I did one of these D&D and chill streams. So I just want to thank you guys for coming by and hanging out, and thanks Mizroy for the raid earlier. And good to see you again, Nerdy Sakura. Thanks for jumping in, chiming in, and Bill the Bear for chatting with us. Also, thank you, Glenn, for subscribing for another month. 8 months. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But so yeah, I hopefully we'll be doing some more of these. You know, I got a bunch of books that I want to talk about. I got some things, you know, want to chat about and maybe work on my campaign on the channel, but who knows? We'll see. But yeah, come back tomorrow night for, well, I guess tonight, but come back tonight for the next episode of the first 15. So where's my list? Here it is. Oh, I don't want to have that on stream. No, fuck that. You're gonna see all the games I have planned. Yeah, come back later today for the next episode of the first 15, where we will be playing Furious Farm, Super Fetch Dog, and Stray Shot. I could have also just done this. So I'm gonna have to switch to, oh yeah, see, this is all fucked up now. I gotta fix these. These chats just give me a headache. All right, that's fine. I don't care. But yeah, I'll see you guys later today. Have a good night. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for coming by. Bye.